Hi everyone, welcome to class. Today I'm just going to run through a quick 15-minute yin practice with you. It's just a mini version of the lower body yin class that I just released in our online studio. So what you'll need is a pile of pillows or a bolster and some blocks or a pile of sturdy books, and we'll just start by making a bit of an incline. So just stack the blocks up like that, or just make a little staircase with your sturdy books, and then we'll just place the bolster on top like that, or your couple of piles of cushions or pillows. And we're just going to start here with our toes tucked under. Just make sure you get the toes right under and start to walk the balls of the feet back. Come and sit on the heels, make sure the knees, the hips and the heels are in a parallel line, and then come into a beautiful straight posture. Hands can rest on the thighs, or you can rest the hands on the belly. And here we'll start to deepen our breath. Allow the belly to rise and fall like a balloon. And if that's starting to feel a little bit strong on your toes as you drop the weight down into the heels, you can always come up and bring the hips forward. That might be enough for some of you. But if you feel like you can, start to sink the hips back and drop the weight of the hips down over the feet. Every time a little bit of intensity starts to creep in, you can just move the hips forward, have a little break, and then drop them back. But otherwise, let's stay here for about 6 more breaths. Just knowing that this is bringing a lot of energy and vitality to our lower body organs. The major lower body meridians or energy channels end in our feet. So with this posture, we're opening up the toes quite dynamically and stimulating those lower body meridian lines. It works in a similar way to how reflexology works when the practitioner presses on certain points that target those energy lines and improve the health of certain organs that they're targeting just by freeing up those energy channels. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And exhale, very slowly release. Come down onto your hands, peel the toes away from the floor. Just slowly, slowly letting the feeling come back into the toes, and then when you feel ready, when you feel that rush of sensation, we'll just start to tap the toes on the floor. Just get everything moving again. And then when you're ready, releasing the toes, so we're sitting on the backs of our feet, and come and sit back on our heels. Just rock from side to side, become comfortable in this seat. And then imagine that the spine is like a beautiful straight rod, and we're just going to lean back and start to peel the knees off the floor. So that leaning back of the torso is acting as a bit of a counterweight, so we can lift up the knees, and we're opening up the fronts of our feet and our ankles. And don't worry, even if it's just a tiny, tiny lift, that's completely fine. The knees don't need to be high. Hold for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And release. Pause for a moment. We'll go 1 more time, opening up the fronts of our ankles and feet. And then when you're ready, leaning the torso back, peeling the knees away from the floor. Even if it's just a slight lift, that's completely fine. 2 more breaths. 1 more deep inhale. Exhale, rocking forward. You can come forward, release the toes, give them a little bit of a tap, just get everything moving again. And then let's come and sit back on our heels. So if you have tight ankles or you're feeling any uncomfortable sensations through the knees, you could also grab a blanket and just fold it up and pop it underneath here. Or you can roll it up into more of a roll kind of shape and pop it underneath the ankles long ways, and that will help to create a lot more ease within the pose. So we'll just do a few rounds of a seated cat-cow. As we inhale, the elbows draw back, the belly button draws forward, and we lift through the heart. And exhale, fingertips draw forward, chin draws to the chest, and we round through our back. Inhale, elbows draw back, lift through the heart. And exhale, fingertips draw forward. So we'll just do a few more rounds. And one last round after this. And then coming back to neutral spine, and we'll move over to the little hill that we've just made with our pillows and cushions, and bring our feet to either side. Sink the hips down just in front of the bolster and nuzzle the hips down in between the heels. Now that might be strong enough for some of you, and you're welcome to stay here. Again, you can use the blanket that you've got to release through the hips, just rolling it up into a long roll and popping it underneath the ankles long way will just help to support the ankles if they're not feeling comfortable, or making the blanket into a little bit of a long sort of flat version. You can pop it underneath behind the knees to give the knees a little bit of support. But otherwise, we're just sinking the hips down in between the heels. And then we're just making our way back onto our hands first. See how that feels? And that might be far enough for some of you. That's completely okay. But some of us might feel as though we can start to lay back over the bolster, and you can grab onto your heels and release back. See how that feels. And that might feel very comfortable for some of you, so you might even like to get rid of the blocks. And then you can come and lay back over the bolster flat on the floor, grabbing onto the heels. And if that feels comfortable, you're also welcome to get rid of the bolster completely. Just notice the sensations, notice what your body is telling you, and you will know if you need to pull back. Listen to that. Otherwise, we'll drop into our deep yogic breathing. Allow the belly to rise and fall like a balloon. So this is known as saddle pose in Yin, and it's helping to target the meridian lines of the stomach and the spleen. So as we open up those channels, we're helping to improve the health of those organs. So let's just stay here for about 10 more deep breaths. And that would have meant that we've been here for just over a couple of minutes, and what usually happens around the 2-minute mark is the body starts to let go of the tension a lot more. The muscles start to relax to a point where we start to open up the network of soft tissues more effectively. So about 4 or 5 more breaths from here. Last deep inhale. And then slowly making your way up onto your forearms, onto your hands. Walk the hands forward. And just very, very slowly release the feet. We'll come and sit with our legs out in front of us. Sit with a straight spine for a couple of moments as we feel that network of soft tissue melting back into place. Feel into the reset. And then we'll just come into a little counter pose. You can sit on one of your cushions if you like. That little bit of elevation through the hips just means that we can fold forward without any tension moving into our spine. And then we'll bring our bolster or our pillows in front of us, keeping them flat, keep the knees bent, and you can drape over and catch the end of the bolster, or you can bring the legs long and bring the pillows flat over the legs, lift through the belly, fold forward, catch onto the end of the bolster. But just notice what your lower spine is doing. If there's any strain or too much tension moving into the lower back, that means you need a bit of height underneath the hips, or it means you need to bend the knees a little bit, or both. So just make sure that there's absolutely no strain in the lower back. There might be a little bit of a curve, that's okay, but you want it to feel quite comfortable. So we'll just stay here for 5 more breaths. Okay, last deep inhale, exhale completely, and then we'll roll up and make our way onto our back, and just bring the bolster underneath the knees, or you can just lay flat on the back, and the palms face the ceiling, and we come into Shavasana. Give the body a squeeze and then release, and let everything become still. And scan through the body to notice how you're feeling in this moment. Pay particular attention to the front of the lower body. Scan through the quads, the hip flexors, the ankles and the feet, and notice the sensation through these areas. And then do a little scan through the rest of your body just to notice how you're feeling. Take one last deep yogic breath before you release control over the breath and melt back towards your natural everyday breathing. we'll shift our internal focus outwards and just sense the outside day, the outside room. Start to wiggle the fingertips and toes. When you're ready, rolling over to the right side. Use the left hand to prop yourself up. And we'll come and sit. Thank you for joining me for that mini 15-minute practice. I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll see you next time.